And what is probably the least shocking news ever reported, it looks as if both myself and basically the rest of the metal world were correct when about a week and a half ago, it was announced that Megadeth's Kiko Loureiro would be quote-unquote extending his absence from the band. Although with the way that his statement was worded and with Dave Mustaine's subsequent statement, it really felt more of like a permanent departure. And now, though, we found out that's exactly what it is, according to the man himself in a brand new podcast interview. Let's dive in. When it was first revealed that Kiko would be quote-unquote extending his absence from Megadeth, he made the following statement online. Dear Megadeth fans, I want to share with you a decision that hasn't been easy for me. In September, I had to step away from the U.S. leg of the tour for family reasons. Looking ahead during 2024, we anticipate an even heavier touring schedule for Megadeth. After thorough reflection and discussions with Dave Mustaine and Megadeth's management, we have collectively agreed that it is the right move to extend my absence. I don't want to hinder any of the band's plans or the hard work of all the incredible people involved in the tour. My 9 years with Megadeth have been an unbelievable journey filled with countless pinch-me moments. Unforgettable tours, a Grammy Award for Dystopia, a Grammy nomination, and various accolades for The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead are just a few of the highlights. It is hard to put into words the magnitude of these experiences. I am sure any heavy metal fan can appreciate how incredible it is to play and create music in a band you grew up listening to and to share the stage with a guitar legend like Dave Mustaine, along with phenomenal musicians like James Lomenzo and Durfir Buren, not to mention our incredible crew. However, the most cherished aspect of these 9 years has been getting to know the incredible army of devoted Megadeth fans around the world. Your dedication is inspiring, and I have immense admiration and respect for all of you. Much love. See you soon. I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to read between the lines and realize that Kiko was essentially saying farewell. I mean, why would you go on to describe your various accolades with Megadeth if you were just going on a leave of absence? That makes zero sense whatsoever. Not to mention, Mustaine released a very similar statement just following Kiko's, while also confirming that Kiko's replacement, Teemu Mäntysaari, will in fact be continuing on with the band. And Mustaine has been he's had very, very high praise for Mäntysaari in the press, even going on to say that Megadeth has added songs into their set list that they weren't already playing due to Teemu's abilities. Just yesterday, though, Kiko appeared somewhat surprisingly on the Amplifica podcast, which I believe means amplified or amplifies or something, hosted by his former Angra bandmate, Rafael Bittencourt. Now, I'm going to somewhat quote what he said in the podcast, which, by the way, is like almost 6 hours long. It's like 5 hours and 40-some minutes or something. But the whole thing is in another language. I was able to find a transcription via Confere Rock, but I believe that site itself is natively in Portuguese, so not 100% sure that the English transcription will be completely accurate to a T, but you'll get the point of what Kiko is saying. Kiko said that he needs freedom, and that would have been the reason he went to the United States in the early 2000s, and at that time, having freedom after 9 years with Megadeth was important. He then goes on to add, quote, "And now, due to circumstances in my life, I have taken the liberty of choosing not to be in Megadeth, because it's my option, because freedom is having the choice between two viable options. That is freedom." He goes on to add that he has reached the point of prioritizing family over anything else, noting such past examples of almost missing the birth of his daughter Livia in 2011 due to a gig at Rock in Rio, as well as starting a Megadeth tour in 2016, just 10 days after the birth of his twin sons. Kiko also eventually confirms that there is in fact a situation that requires him to be home, but understandably so, he did not get into any details regarding that situation. Regarding his time in Megadeth, though, he says that he was very comfortable in the band and it was an easy position to be in, as there's a team of around 20 people who prepare everything so that the band just shows up and plays, and according to him, within the near decade he has been in Megadeth, he has only played around 20 to 25 songs. Kiko concludes the Megadeth portion of the conversation by noting that there are no hard feelings between he and the band, and that this has been in the works since June, so nearly 6 months ago. He also once again confirms that he is the one who brought Teemu in as his replacement, even noting that he went to his house to tell him how things need to be done. Also, when asked what's next for him, he simply responded, "No, next question." While it is now basically confirmed that Kiko is 100% officially out of Megadeth, I gotta say that this whole thing still makes no fucking sense whatsoever. Up to this point, which, by the way, I am very surprised that Kiko publicly addressed this, both he and Mustaine have been so damn cryptic and mysterious, which is just not really how Megadeth operates. And Mustaine really is. As we all know, Megadeth is Mustaine. Kiko has also had a very large presence within the band, and if you're not familiar, he's got a fantastic YouTube channel, very well done, very high production value, even including behind the scenes, normally off-limits things, such as Megadeth sound checks, even backstage moments with Mustaine himself, which has always sort of shocked me that Mustaine allows Kiko to have a camera around almost at all times on the road, especially being that Kiko is not a legacy member. If this was David Ellefson doing that a few years ago, or even James Lomenzo now, I guess that, that would make more sense, as they are legendary classic members. But Kiko, Mustaine must have really, really liked Kiko, in my opinion. That being said, though, upon the arrival of Teemu, Mustaine has spoken extremely highly of him in the press. Like I said earlier, even noting that they've added new songs into the set due to Teemu's abilities, which I will say, it does make me wonder, is it possible that perhaps Mustaine is responsible for all of this, or at least a majority of this? I am purely speculating here, but I don't think it's that crazy to think that perhaps Kiko really did need to have a leave of absence just for a brief period of time when this whole thing was officially announced back in like September, I think it was, with full plans to come back. But then when Mustaine got in the same room with Teemu and they started jamming together, maybe Mustaine ended up liking Teemu more, or preferring his style to that of Kiko's. Nothing against Mustaine whatsoever. Personally, I'm a huge fan of the guy, but we do know that loyalty does not run very deep within him, and I'd say especially with a newer member of the band. I mean, 9 years, given Megadeth's long history, is really not that much time. And Kiko is was essentially the new guy. In no way whatsoever am I saying that is what happened. I am only speculating, but it is definitely a plausible theory if you ask me. It would be pretty fucked up on both Mustaine's part and Teemu's part if it were actually true, but I don't really think it's that far-fetched. And then perhaps it just got to the point, if that really did happen, Mustaine was like, hey, listen, this is what I want to do, but I don't want to make you look bad. I certainly don't want to make me look bad. Let's just spin it as you're going to extend this leave of absence. Who knows? Who knows? Again, speculation, but to me, that feels very plausible, given how highly he has talked to Teemu. Although on the flip side, it does seem like every time Megadeth gets a new guitar player, Dave Mustaine is very quick to say that something along the lines of, oh, this is the greatest guitar player that I've ever had in this band with me. So who really knows? It's also entirely possible that this narrative that we're being told is 100% true, but as you should know by now, that is rarely ever the case, especially with bands. It's just nothing but drama. It doesn't matter to the band. Megadeth, Slipknot, you name it, always constant drama. Regardless, though, it looks like Kiko is officially out of Megadeth for good, with Teemu Mäntysaari in his place. And like I've said before, definitely a bummer, as I am a fan of Kiko's, but I am also very interested to see what Teemu is able to bring to the table and provide, assuming that he becomes a permanent member, a full-fledged member of Megadeth. I do wonder, though, who will be next on the chopping block, or is it possible that this is the final Megadeth lineup? Highly, highly doubtful that that's the case, but they certainly cannot continue forever. Let me know what you think down below. All right, though, I gotta run. My fiance is waiting to have my ashes in her mouth. Well, I guess that kind of makes it sound like I'm sick and dying and now dead or something. I don't know, punny, I guess. Anyways, I gotta go. But thanks so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you next time.